Absolutely. Cool. So what are some of the data security pieces that Strider implements to help keep not only the organizers safe with some of the transactions, but also the people coming to your events?
Please use layman's terms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you start off with the notion that you're going to move money from one place to another, that was the third aspect of what we had to solve for people. Moving money from one place to another without it being sent to Nigeria or funneling, stuff to terrorists had to be really safe and secure, and it had to be very reliable. We set it up in a way that anybody can come to the platform and set up an account if they're pre-approved by our global partner, PayPal, to get money through the platform. They can get money through Venmo or credit cards, but it has to be secure. So that person has to be vetted. They usually need to have a tax number or something like that. And we have to make sure that that transaction can't get caught in the middle. So that your data, when you're sending your credit card information over to whatever venue that you're riding at the recognized USDF horse show, you're not worried about that going anywhere, that it's totally secure. So from the day one, we looked at it a little bit overkill, probably because I was working with the military at the time. We looked at it overkill, like we've got to make sure all this data is really secure. We've got to make sure the personal information is secure, the email addresses are secure, the date of births are secure, their home addresses, all this information is secure, and that we're transmitting it securely, that it's hosted securely, and that when the largest trade fair in Europe comes to us and says, we'd like you to process all these entries, but we need you to go through a cybersecurity audit, we can go to them and say, yep, we can do that, no problem. So we used a lot of technology that was best practices. It's cloud hosted on AWS. AWS knows what they're doing. From payment scenarios and data security on that, we partnered with PayPal. And basically what we did was we got in front of PayPal and we said, we're not going away. We need a way. We need a way to get equestrian businesses, the sports industry at large, baseball teams, soccer teams, whatever, their money in an easy, convenient way without them getting hit with a 3% processing fees. So how can we make this happen? And they said, that's nice, and we'll talk to you later. I was like, we're not going away. We're still going to come back to you. How can we make this happen? Because at the time, it wasn't legal for a lot of businesses to charge the riders or the consumers the 3% fees. So we needed the blessing of the credit card processing companies to set it up on a platform that could go around. And they said, okay, since you're clearly not going away, we're going to figure out a way to do this tech with you. We're going to make it the most secure lockdown tech imaginable, so that everybody using it knows that it's reliable. And oh, by the way, nobody steals credit cards to enter horse shows. So you're extremely low risk.
Okay, but still.
Like you're very low risk. Yeah. So they looked at it and they said, this is actually a great first scenario into the industry when they decided to partner with us, because the risk wasn't there. Right. You've got the data, the data transmission is good, and people aren't funneling money to the wrong people because, your kid's not stealing your credit card to go to Middleburg. By the time they show up in Middleburg, you found out they stole your credit card. So that risk factor is not there. Venmo on our platform is a super easy and convenient and secure way of sending the money to the venue. So when we added Venmo, that was one of the ways we wanted to make sure, hey, listen, people are comfortable sending money with Venmo. Sometimes they're not comfortable doing it this way. They're not comfortable doing it this way. They don't want to leave an open check in the show office. Yeah. Because that's like $6,000 just waiting to happen.
Or it gets lost, or something,
Right.
The wind blows through.
Yes.
The check is.
So we wanted to make sure that things weren't getting lost in transit. Mm-hmm. And by doing it digitally, we knew that the checks, how many times have you taken the Borders check?
And washed it?
Yes.